Welcome back to Great Day. We are back with Sergeant Kendra Lou Garza, who's overcome addiction to pain pills and heroin after losing her leg serving in Afghanistan. Valerie James was homeless at one time after serving in Afghanistan as well. Today she works with Mental Health America of Greater Houston as a veteran peer services coordinator. We also have amputee advocate Tom Allred, who's lived with prosthetic legs for over 57 years. All right, before the break I asked, what was your coming to Jesus moment where you had to decide, am I going to live or die?
My coming to Jesus moment was sitting in a jail cell and realizing the same freedom I fought for was now being taken away from me due to this addiction. You know, I was all alone in this horrible place, and you know, I wasn't myself anymore. Not one thing about me was myself anymore.
Yeah. And for Valerie, what was your decision to finally reconnect with society?
You know, when you're in something as real as a war, when you come back, it seems like a dream. And so being outside homeless in the chaos, I guess it balanced out where this became less of a dream, more real, and I was able to just step back into it.
Yeah, all right. What do you have to say to people who are struggling with an addiction right now? Because there's somebody watching who has a family member, or they're the ones who's struggling with an addiction right now.
I would tell them to reach out. You're not alone. Take it one day at a time, because if I can overcome it, you know, you can too. I was once lost as well, you know, and seen no light at the end of the tunnel. But there is a light, so I would definitely reach out.
All right. Tom, before the break, we talked about just kind of the first thing you realize is that you're alive when you survive a combat situation, but then you have another readjustment to life, and that is adjusting to missing a limb. For you, you've lived with prosthetics for most of your life as a child, right?
Right.
All right. So when you go and share with people, how important is it for you to do kind of your passion, and how important would that have been to you to see somebody say, okay, I know this is different, but it's going to be okay?
Well, I can't pay back anybody that helped me in 1961, but I understand full well the value of what I refer to as peer support. That is to say, and not to make a negative statement about any doctors or nurses that help out along the way, but if they're able-bodied, their encouragement is just a little bit hollow.
Yeah.
When a fellow amputee can share with you, well, yeah, it is a tough battle. It's a struggle every day, but it's a winnable battle. You can do this. That's received by the person who's experienced the trauma altogether differently. And my passion, personally, is to bring as much hope to as many as I can. I mean, we've got them falling out of battles literally every day. We've got 5,000 people a year in the United States, amputees, that don't have anything to do with war-type battles, but it's a battle anyway. And
you can come walking into a hospital room and say, you got a new life ahead of you, but not really.
Yeah, I don't think of myself as a mean person, but I love to watch tears, because the tears I get to see are tears of hope and joy. Finally.
You lived a fully mobile life. You've enjoyed several careers, and all of those careers required you to be mobile.
Yeah, absolutely. And
did you have that person for you to come in and say, hey, look at me?
I did. Actually, it was a fellow battle buddy. He lost both legs. I was in the hospital in Walter Reed, and he came strolling into my hospital room and was like, you know, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
So it's definitely very encouraging and motivating when a fellow amputee comes in.
You've seen over the years how technology has changed. Did you start with a wooden leg before?
Yeah. And it's a kind of a strange thing, but a big old block of Ohio willow wood was sitting in the corner in this room where I was first being examined, some measurements taken and so forth, and I made some smart aleck comment about this wood over there, and they said, well, that's going to be your legs. And I was stunned.
Yeah.
They were nice and shellacked them up and varnished them and showed the grain real well.
And they gave you a can of pledge to take with you, right? So you could
So you fast forward 5 years at a time, and they started using some plastics, and then they started using metal. They used carbon fiber.
You remember the show The Bionic Man?
Oh yeah.
And it was around that time when they were starting to really kind of do those things.
Yeah.
And so way since then, what they thought was way in the future at that time, the future is here. And so for you, you've gone through several incantations of what your prosthetic would be. What are you wearing now?
Well, the interesting thing is that technology has changed the knees and the feet, and they've gotten real fancy, but the interface, the attachment from the human body to the mechanics has changed looks, but it's actually been the same throughout. It's been hard and rigid, and your body's got to conform to it. In the last 4 or 5 years, there's been some neat technology coming around wherein the socket, as it's officially called, is adjustable. It's conforming to the human body instead of your body having to conform to it. So what was a hard, rigid bucket that I had to learn to get comfortable in is no more in my life.
Yeah, because you had to learn to get comfortable with it. And I just got to mention that when you came in today, you came in using your crutches, and we were talking about the fact that sometimes you have your prosthetic on, sometimes you don't, but it's kind of hard because you're still kind of, I guess what he was talking about, kind of
Adjusting, yeah, definitely. You know, it's very invasive as well. You know, the socket is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an absolute fact.
This is Martin Bionics.
Martin
makes what you
Bionics
have.
has come up with an adjustable socket that literally, I mean, it's a funny thing, and an amputee understands it. Most people who don't have limb loss don't understand it, but my wife and I like to go to Star Wars movies, and they released one in December that's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Amputees don't want to sit in a movie theater for 3 hours.
No.
Circulation gets cut off. It's so uncomfortable. During that movie, I literally did this.
Wow.
And sat there comfortable for the whole time, and then when I was ready to leave the theater, I cranked them back down until they felt good and got up and walked out. And it was astounding because I realized that day in that moment that I had a 7 a.m. fit at 4 p.m.
Wow. All right, so Kendra, I see a bit of attentive jealousy in your eyes. Is that what I was seeing there?
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit of jealousy in your eyes. Okay, so what would a difference of something like this, like a Martin Bionic prosthetic that you could be comfortable with, that you don't have to necessarily switch back and forth from your crutches, what would that mean in your life?
Oh, it would change my life. It would give me independence back.
Yeah. The tough thing, of course, is that money is an issue on these things. These are
definitely,
not cheap.
No.
But can you tell her why that she does not have to worry about that money, Tom?
Well,
Oh my God.
Yay!
You don't have to be jealous anymore because you are getting a new leg, compliments of Martin Bionics.
Wow.
This represents what, of course, will be made custom for you. But if I can illustrate for you just a little bit what we're talking about here, where there was a hard, rigid seat to be seated on, this is literally inspired by a climbing harness, and this is the part that now gives when I sit down. I sit on a wooden park bench or a concrete park bench. I'm no longer jacked up by the fact that my hard socket has got me standing up. I can sit down. I don't have any restriction on leaning forward. I can tie my own shoes. As you know, that becomes an issue when you wear a standard socket. So we're excited at Martin Bionics to be a part of a dream coming true for you.
Oh, thank you so
Tom,
much.
thank you. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Kendra, both of you, for your service. And if you would like to learn more about Mental Health America of Greater Houston or Martin Bionics, you can visit greatdayhouston.com and we'll connect you to their websites. We're going to spend the commercial break wiping off tears. Here you go, right there. All right. Thank you so much.